All right, we ready? Good evening, everyone. I now call to order the Tuesday, February 8, 2022 meeting of the City of Sugar Land Planning and Zoning Commission. Good evening. It's great to see you here, fellow commissioners, and we'll proceed with our business items at this time. Item 3, public comment. Members of the public desiring to address the commission may do so at this time. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? All right, no public comment. Then we will move to item 4A, approval, consideration of an action on the minutes of the January 11th, 2022 meeting. You've received the minutes in your packets. Any changes? Do I hear a motion?
Just a question, just to make sure that we're doing this appropriately. In the minutes, when we talk about this, we label whether a resident is opposed or in favor of the, what were we, the
That's a self-designation, isn't
yeah.
it? I think they designate that on their form.
It is. I get concerned sometimes when I see in favor or opposed, when people tell me that they're opposed to things that are factually incorrect.
Okay.
And so that's just a point of reference. I don't know if we can, I don't know if that's even appropriate from a perspective to comment on that.
I mean, I think I understand your comment, Andy, but I mean, you know, someone says, I read something on Nextdoor and I'm opposed to that. Okay, that's fine. But here, I think what the record is reflecting is just that when folks have signed up to speak, they are given a speaker's form. They're asked to fill out certain information, and they mark whether they're in favor or opposed. Mm-hmm. I assume that means of the item under consideration.
Sure.
And so I think that's the assumption we have to operate on. I don't know that we can really go much deeper than that.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
But that's how I would understand it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right.
I'll second.
Thank you. We've got a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Hey, Taylor.
Hey, I just walked in, but I did have an issue with the minutes.
What was that? You didn't read them?
No, I just, I wanted to be sure that the minutes reflected some comments made during the last meeting related to the commission better understanding what process formally would need to take place if we were to alter the number of multifamily units at any given regional activity center. And that was not reflected in the minutes.
Is that in 5.7?
Provide information exploring the number of multifamily units allocated in each regional activity center.
So less so about the actual numbers and more so about the process that this commission would have to undertake to actually formally alter those numbers. I just wanted that to be captured in the minutes.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how this commission would do that, but I mean, if there was a,
it would come to us first, presumably.
If there was a so what I'm hearing is there was a discussion at the meeting, mm-hmm. and the discussion was what, that we need more information about what the steps would be.
I think that I would like for us to be informed about what the process would be, that if there's alterations to the land use plan, what role would the commission play in that alteration?
I hear you. I guess my question is, what was the discussion at the meeting that needs to be captured in the minutes? We're talking about memorializing what was discussed at the meeting.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at least where one of the points that I was trying to make was that I did want to better understand that. Perhaps I didn't state that as clearly as I should have. I just didn't see that captured.
No, and it's not that at all. I'm trying to make sure we fit it in, mm-hmm. because the minutes should reflect the discussion, and right. So I'm trying to think of how to do that. And I'm not exactly sure how to do that without going back and listening to what.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how to do it either. Honestly, it's maybe that's a request separate and apart from the minutes.
Well, how about this? We do have item 7 on the minutes, which was provide information exploring the number of multifamily units allocated in each regional activity center. Perhaps it would be sufficient for us just to say, we have an understanding that part of that includes the commission developing a better understanding of what the process for changing those caps would look like.
Perfectly adequate.
Okay? Everyone comfortable with that?
Yeah, but I'm gonna need to go back and listen to it to see.
Yeah, I think you've got I think you have to, I don't know how to do it without listening to it and saying, hey, that was the comment and that's the one that needs to be memorialized. So, I mean, I would guess, so I guess can we approve the minutes subject to going back and listening to that and adding in a comment that captures or memorializes that discussion?
And are we talking about 5A or the next item?
I would assume that we are talking about
Yes.
5A, yes. And not 6A.
And if the city comes to the conclusion that was not the point that was articulated, I get it. So
Okay.
that was just as I was reviewing the minutes, that was my recollection of the discussion. So
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that are discussed, that.
aren't captured
word for
verbatim.
word in the minutes, but we try to capture the consensus back to staff, so I'll look at it and.
Okay.
Great.
So,
Just make it contingent on.
yeah, so as I'm understanding it, if we need to make a new motion, we can do that. But, okay, so I think as I'm understanding it, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes subject to the city secretary's office reviewing the minutes of the prior P&Z meeting to determine if there was additional comment regarding the commission's need for more information about how the multifamily cap limit would be altered,
And what role the
was
commission
made,
played.
and if so, memorializing that in the minutes. Does that work for everyone? All right. That's the motion. Do I hear a second?
I will have to second that.
All right. Any other, and so, do we need to, we didn't put the first motion to a vote, so I guess can we consider that motion, Commissioner, to be withdrawn?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that one's withdrawn. We've got a motion and a second, if you vote at this time. And that motion passes unanimously among the members present. Thank you very much, Commissioners. And let us move on now to item 5A, consideration of an action on the Park at Eldridge final plat 1-year extension. Laura Waller, Planner 2. Laura, good evening.
Good evening. So this evening, I am bringing to you the final plat extension for the final plat of the Park at Eldridge. So this is the area at West Airport and Eldridge Road. This area is just over 20 acres and was, click the wrong button, sorry, and was approved by the commission this time last year, so February 9th, 2021. The extension allows for more time for recordation. It is essentially just continuing on that approval from last year for another year. The applicant is choosing to install their infrastructure and getting that public infrastructure acceptance letter before recordation, which they have that option. That is one that's allowed. And so they need that extra year in order to be able to get all that infrastructure in for the area. Again, just a reminder, this is, it's not a re-review of the plat, although we did provide it as a courtesy to you guys. And it does include 89 lots, 11 reserves in 2 blocks. So another little overview, here is the line work over top of a satellite image. So I hope y'all can remember the detention pond is on the left. We have Greenbrier along the south, and then the north boundary is West Airport, and along the right is Eldridge Road. This is the approval letter that was sent out after the meeting, and it does include all of the comments that y'all had addressed, all the conditions that were along with the motion, as well as some of our normal recordation package language. And then the extension application is on the right, just stating that the applicant is choosing to install their public infrastructure before recordation. Therefore, staff does recommend approval of the one-year final plat extension.
Thank you, Laura. Two questions for me, and apologies for going out of my traditional order. Number one is the opinion of city staff that there's good cause for extending the
Yes.
deadline.
Mhm.
And second of all, our role as the commission is we're not re-reviewing the plat at this time. We are only considering the request to extend for the
Correct.
extend it for 1 year, correct?
It would just extend approval from last year to one more year. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Commissioners, any discussion, any questions for staff or the applicant?
I have a question. I'm looking at, I went in and looked at the ordinance today. Extension of approval requires for the plat application, which I see, a PDF of the plat, which I see, but it also says a letter of request 30 days prior to expiration. May just be a check in the box kind of thing, but do we have that letter of request? Is that a matter of record?
So the
Do we
letter of
need it
request
attached?
is considered the application itself. That is their request for the one-year extension.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Good question. Anything else? I'd hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that staff recommends, that we recommend that we approve the plat extension for the park at Eldridge final plat. Oh, that looks funny.
Okay, I've got I've got a motion by Commissioner Ushold, and I've got a second by Commissioner Simeon. Is there any further discussion? All right, if you'll please vote at this time. That passes unanimously among the members present. Thank you very much, Laura. Thanks very much to the applicant. Appreciate it. Item 6A, reports, Planning and Zoning Commission Liaison Report from the City Council meeting of January 18, 2022. Who had that one?
I had January. And that meeting was all consent agenda items, and there wasn't anything for us to handle. And then the next meeting was a workshop on the it's not even on here. Okay.
Thanks, Andy. The February 1st meeting, AP?
Yep, I had that. It was a relatively short and sweet agenda. Most of it was in closed session. Our wonderful Parks and Rec team was honored, as well as our communications team. But beyond that, most of it was consent agenda. The only agenda item that was unanimously voted on was a legal action, but it wasn't really relevant to us. So yeah, it was a very, very quick meeting.
Thanks very much, AP. Item 6B, City Staff Report. Doug, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. This evening, we won't keep you here long, and your next meeting will be the 24th, Thursday the 24th. We do have a public hearing scheduled for plan development in the Imperial area up on Highway 6, some commercial there that is getting started, final development plan, and we're still working through any other remaining items, so that's all we have.
So the public hearing will be for the 24th, in addition to whatever else is going to be on that
That's correct.
agenda?
We definitely have already advertised for the hearing, so we know we'll have that for sure.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right, so everyone pack a lunch on the 24th. All right, is that it?
That's all we have, sir.
Good. Anything
Motion
else?
to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Ushold. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I've got a second by Commissioner Landine. All in favor? We are adjourned. Good night, everybody.